Yeah, it's actually one of the few stories. That's right, but we had to. Yeah, okay, we couldn't have done it. Clearly, we could not have made the movie without Michael Peyser. Anyway, yeah. But Leora Barish was a new friend, and she was telling me about the script she was writing, and I said what I very quickly stopped saying to people, but, oh, I'd like to read it when it's done. And one morning, glanced for the newspaper, there was an envelope, and I read it, and I immediately gave it to Midge. We had just decided to sort of go into become partners, and Midge had much more experience reading scripts, and really recognized that it was special. And we had a bidding war with two other people, but because we said we were friends with Leora, and we told her we'd keep her involved. She went with the two of us and took a chance on us.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sarah gave me the script, and I just thought it was so original. I haven't seen anything like it. I love the theme of identity. I love that Roberta, who was so stuck in her life, had to get amnesia, think she was somebody else, and then come out the other side and find her own identity. And I was blown away. But Susan Seidelman, my ex-husband, was a literary agent, and his partner was representing Susan. She had already been to Cannes, Smithereens, and Sarah and I saw it, and we just thought she really had a special visual style that could be right for this.
And when she read it, we sort of immediately asked her, well, who do you see playing? And she said she was interested. Who do you see playing it? And she said, I can't really think about casting because the movie reminded me so much of Celine and Julie Go Boating. Danny and Tim both really found all that music, and then and Tom Newman, who had only really done one feature before that, and it was just I really tonight I have to say I really appreciated all the elements would come together. So the combination of the music by Tom Newman, and then the way Ed Lockman uses color gels, that was really unusual. To use color gels.
He used all the purple gel on the East Coast. Come on, I had to get more money.
And then the song, okay? Into the groove. That was a basement tape. She came in with it, and we had not listened to like a version of it, so we just assumed it was a song that off the album, that it wasn't. But if it hadn't been for Tim and Danny and their relationship with Jeff Aroff, because Warner's did not want us to use that song because they were just peeling singles off of like a version. And Jeff Aroff said, "We are going to own this song anyway. Let them use the song." So anyway.
Luckily, Warner Brothers distributed Orion's movies, and they were one.
Right at that time. Yeah. Right.
And
it was a Steve Bray 4-track. Mm-hmm. Steve Bray and Madonna wrote that song. It was a 4-track. It pre-existed the album. It was one of her things, And I remember saying, Susan, I said, well, what are we going to do? And Ed says, oh, I'm going to put it on my shoulder. We're going to dance around. And I said, you have to cut the music so you can do a dialogue scene because they're talking the whole way. So we used it as a backtrack for everybody to move on the rhythm, and that's why we brought it in. We used it just to shoot the scene, and then by the time we finished the movie, and this is really the interesting thing, if you can imagine the dynamic of playing the two characters off each other in the story, the people of New York, the cops, everybody, over the 8 weeks of shooting, Madonna became Madonna. And it was kind of insulting to Rosanna, who was the most popular, like every director
in the world wanted to work with Rosanna at that point
Yeah,
because,
she just finished moving with Marty Scorsese,
Yeah,
and
she-
then after that, worked with Larry Caston.
you know, so she was like at the top, and all of a sudden, you know, it was like sitting on this sidewalk in director's chairs, and all of a sudden she was like, wait a second, what's happening here? This is, you know, Mike Flender is, you know. Anyway, it worked out great.
Brought that into the group with her that day.
We
For
played
the
it
scene,
on her,
yeah, and it was
So-
perfect.
And Arthur Krim would not let us go to Egypt because there was an Israeli-Egyptian war happening at that time, the second one. And the Middle East was not in good shape, so we found it in Lakewood, New Jersey, where the dirigibles landed. It was also where they farmed silicate for radio tubes. And there was endless miles of leftover sand, and we drew the pyramids on a glass plate like they did in the 30s. And we had Madonna and Rosanna riding off into the sunset to the pyramids. And there was an incident where Rosanna was almost thrown off her camel, and it was sort of unclear whether Madonna urged her camel on. So the diversity of the two roles being shared was felt all the time.
The original ending, we thought it would be great for these two women who hadn't actually met during the, after the, that scene at the end, that they were going off together for their own adventure. Test audiences did not like that ending. So we went with the ending. And at the very end, when you see that newspaper headline, what a pair, what a pair.
Yeah.
I believe that was Michael Peyser's wife, Pat's idea to come up with that.
I came up with the Daily News headline, what a
What a
pair.
pair, yeah. So thank you. But we love the idea of the two women on the camels at the end. It didn't play that well. It didn't feel like, oh, this is such a dynamite ending. It was really the idea of the two women going off together.
Yeah, Muriel's wedding has an ending where it works. I forget exactly the ending of Muriel's wedding, but anyway. But it just didn't quite work. So philosophically, we like the idea of them going off on their own adventure and not meeting guys. But the scenes clearly the movie theaters scene really played well.
And we did shoot in the Bleecker Street Cinema, and in the booth, and Andy Monsheen, who's a wonderful editor, created that whole pace of cutting back and forth in the club and all that kind of stuff. So it really did resolve the story, and you just wanted to know that the two couples were happy, but
saw it. I lived like 5 blocks away from Love Saves the Day that I seem to work at in the movie. And the last time I saw it, it was when it opened back in that time. And seeing it again now, I realized this is like a documentary.
we ended up using a lot of things on the Lower East Side, but there were some amazing things, like the building with Santo LaCosta was the designer. And I didn't have enough money. I said, Santo, you have to do costumes as well. And he said, oh, even better. I can make it all work. And I actually did play again. So that was what was incredible. The colors, the look, the feel, And Santo I knew I had brought him a little bit into the Woody Allen world because I knew him through Twyla Tharp, and I had done Hair with Milos. and she choreographed that, and that's how we ended up there.
It's so hard to imagine because she's so present. She is Susan. The original script, the Susan character was much more bohemian. The script changed a lot over the years. Bureau did 9 drafts. It was at Warner Brothers for a while. The MacGuffin was a stamp. The original MacGuffin. The original movie was cocaine in a lipstick case. Anyway, it's really hard to imagine anybody else.
And certainly she was a real collaboration between her and Santo Laguesto. Santo, liked her look and, but I think he helped refine her look. I think he really made that. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to our publicist, Reed Roosevelt. He really got the Herb Ritz photos that were all they were all over all the papers. That's our